everybody. Welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in the studio, joined by Randy Inkson. What's up, buddy?
How we doing?
Good, man. Just,
Got Mountain Tim back.
I'm back. I'm back. Shot up to the cabin for really like 2 days.
Yeah. It's worth it.
Snowboarded and came back. Here we are. I left this morning.
Yeah.
I just showed up to get to this studio, but we got a great episode for you guys today. We're going to talk about something that's been, something that happened to me early on when I stepped out of the operations to what is potentially happening to a lot of you gym owners, and you might not sure why.
Yeah.
And this is a chatter. It's happening quite a bit in Iron Circle. This is when the gym owner gets to a point in their operation where they start to be able to step away. Maybe it's into the second location. Maybe it's just out of the operations in the day-to-day. They're not training on the floor anymore. Maybe they're not doing sales anymore. Maybe they're just not even coming into the gym as much. And they start to catch a lot of flack.
Yeah.
They catch a lot of flack from the clientele, and almost to a point where the clients are like, you need to be in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a little us versus them going on. And a lot of the gym owners don't know how to take it. They get pissed.
Yeah.
And, this happened to me, right? So when we first started, I was doing all the sales.
Yep.
Right. I would sign everybody up. I would do all the check-ins. If they ever need anything, change their card on file, it was always me. Can I get scheduled for this? Talk to Tim.
You were running operations, essentially.
Operations.
Yeah.
And so, you get to know a lot of these clients very well. And they're excited because, hey, that's the owner. The owner's taking care of me. And there's some little bit of that too going on. And eventually we got to a point here, the gym was great, had a good team, and, the profit side was taking off, and I needed to do other stuff. And I started to step out of the day-to-day. I wouldn't be coming in every day. And there was this kind of group of women that I had signed up, and I had been, kind of their point of contact for the last 5 years. And here we are, I'm not there anymore. And they started getting resentful.
Yeah.
They started giving some side talk to the coaches. Oh, Tim, he's big time. Oh, hey, I don't see Tim. What's he even doing anymore?
Yeah.
And the most ironic thing about it is many of them were owners of businesses themselves. But you kind of heard some side talk about, oh, this doesn't feel like a mom and pop business anymore. Oh, I'm just a number. Oh, look at this. And I was like, you know what? I couldn't think about it. It was like, whatever. I mean, You're not happy. I don't know what to tell you. It's just because I've got other things going on. And I would be hard pressed to say that if there's the best use of a owner's time is doing training, I would say that's the last thing you should be doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Stuck in fulfillment.
Right. You should be on the front end.
Yep.
And so eventually there was this group of women that just got real loud, and they all quit, kind of like 6 or 7 of them. And, a couple came back after a while, and then they kind of always filtered out. But it was really, the reason was because I wasn't here anymore. And so, Ryan and Evans and some of these guys are getting some side talk where they don't know how to take it, don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And this brought up a great discussion where, the voice of reason, John Farkas, comes into the fold and is like, well, look, let's look at it from their point of view.
Sure.
They're used to seeing you. They're used to training with you, and, you're not training them anymore, and they consider you the best, and your coaches maybe can only deliver 80% of what you can do. Because let's be honest, nobody's going to deliver or care as much or whatever as the owner of the operation. So, is it so wrong of them to be upset? And really the answer is no, it's not wrong for them to be upset. But what I think is wrong is that they should expect anything different.
Yeah.
They should expect you to come back in. They should expect you to stop taking the free time to get back into the gym because they want you to.
Yeah.
I would say that would be the wrong expectation, but.
And that's common. I mean, we talk to gym owners all the time in this specific area, but policies, other things too. I mean, the owner quite often makes decisions based upon the chatter, the word, what they hear from a handful of clients. And I think one of our podcasts that came out, actually it came out today. So a week, what day is it, Tuesday? So probably last Tuesday when you're hearing this was on policies and was around making decisions in your business based on, what you hear from the few, or trying to cater to serving everybody, even though it breaks something in your, the process of the gym. This is another one of those situations. I mean, hell, it could be detrimental to you and your growth as an individual, as a business owner. I mean, think of if you did take their advice or their feedback, and then all of a sudden you were back in that seat. I mean, just in the grand scheme of things, how many gym owners have we helped outside of the four walls of your gym grow their operations? And that's something that they might never even know exists. And so I think, first and foremost, the conversation with those clients, how do you address that? What do you say to them? How can you?
Well, here's the kicker. They never told me any of this.
It's true.
It was always around my back.
Yep.
And I didn't hear about it till later. But some of the folks in our Iron Circle are hearing it from the client direct,
face to face. Yeah.
And so you can nip that right in the butt right there. I mean, I would have plenty of things to say if they were to have told me.
Clear and transparent. Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, if I would have said, oh, you know what, you're right. I need to stay in here and kind of, nurture everybody in this gym because it's mine. And nothing else would have happened. I couldn't have done anything else. And so ProFit wouldn't exist. This podcast wouldn't exist. All of our programs, our growth summits wouldn't, nothing. It would just, I'd be a gym owner and just sitting in here,
one location and, and probably not even to the point where it is today, because again, everything would have to roll up and some of it would have to stay on your shoulders in order for them to feel that kind of one-to-one, relationship. But I think ultimately, and I go back all of the time. I mean, Mike McAllis, when he was in Orlando last year with our Iron Circle, one of the first things that he said right off the bat, and it kind of set the tone for how to think about everything that came after the fact, was, as a business owner, your job is job creation, not fulfillment. Mm-hmm. And to me, that resonated huge, because there is a dynamic, there is a pull back to your business. It is something that you've created, something you're emotionally attached to. A lot of gym owners treat this like their baby. You know what I mean? And if somebody was to say, hey, your baby's ugly, or your baby's malnutritioned, or your baby, you're personally emotionally attached to that, and it's going to affect you. But with that being said, you have a decision to make. And if you always gravitate towards the fear of the next step because of kind of some of the chatter, you're always going to be in that seat. And I think we both can attest that the breakthroughs in business as a business owner happen when you can build that thick skin, understand you're going to take some arrows. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's always going to be the few that have something to say. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not the population of your gym that actually all feels that way. Most of them don't even have an opinion on it, right?
Well, it's funny because we have this inside joke here when Zach or you tell me something and it's everybody says this. Yeah. I always have to dig down a little bit. Like, Zach, what do you mean everybody? Because the funny thing was, when we did the remodel, there was this weird light fixture out in the, it's in the lobby, right? It's a light fixture, big deal, right?
You would think.
I get the word from Zach, everybody hates the light fixture. That's the words he used. Whoa, everybody hates the light fixture. What do you mean, everybody? What are we talking about here? Like they're having pickets, pitchforks.
Refuse to come into the gym because of the light.
So it turns out it was one conversation in the front of the gym. This light fixture here is kind of weird. Like, Tim, everybody hates the light fixture. What are you talking about? Everybody hates the new schedule. Be careful when you hear, as gym owners, the word everybody, sure, because you've got to, let's go take a step back. Where did you hear about it? Well, I heard it from these three coaches. Okay. These three different coaches told you the same story about everybody. Okay. So you start talking to each coach, and it ends up being the same one person told all three, and now it's everybody because it ends up being, it just seems like, to the director, he hears it from three different people. It's like everybody. It ends up being one.
That's misinterpreting data in your business. You know what I mean? That's like saying, our conversions suck because the last sale you had, you didn't close, but everything before that was nothing but, completions. And you can extrapolate that data any way you want and feel how you feel about it. But is it true? Is it?
Everybody hates the light fixture. It was one conversation. Anyways, the light fixture's still there, so we're hitting records. So I don't think it's caused any problems.
It hasn't prevented people from joining.
But listen, guys, you're going to hear the chatter, and I think the key to this thing is, as the owner of the operation, you have to stay focused on what the end goal is.
Yeah.
You're going to take arrows. You got to have thick skin. But like, if you're not real clear on where you want to go with this business, then, leaving it wouldn't make any sense, because you're going to sit at home and just watch Netflix all day. Like, you should have something bigger that you're working on. And if you are working on something bigger, then do that, because I could tell you, again, I said it earlier in the show, the worst use of your time is out there training clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we can even take it further or earlier in the process. I think one of the biggest reasons that clients feel that way is because owners stay in operation or on the floor training clients way longer than they should. I mean, I understand, and everybody should have the option to, and I'm going to say option to, train some clients if that's what they desire to do. But the feeling of being forced there is the opposite of owning a business.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to wrap your mind around the fact that when you created this should be a standalone entity that serves you as the owner. What requirements does that business need to serve you? Getting that off of your plate should be a priority as soon as you open those doors. Starting to think about how, okay, here's a new idea. How are we going to implement this? It should happen with the team, staffing structure and systems, not the owner's shoulders. And I think that just from the conversation, a lot of those gym owners were really integrated with their business for a long time.
That's very true.
And so you have a unique situation, the fact that like you didn't spend most of your time on the training floor. You covered when it was needed. You obviously had the ability to, but that wasn't your role opening your business. You always had more of the operational business stance.
Yep. And I was there doing the sales and
true.
marketing.
Yeah. You were the face of it with that stuff, but it wasn't like the relationship on the training floor.
No.
As opposed to some of those guys who literally, they're the ones that, I mean, they could have spent 2-3 years with these people training them as their trainer.
Yeah.
That relationship is going to be way harder to build or way harder to break than it is if, again, you were the one that brought them into the business and then, appropriately handed them off to the team, and things like that. But I think for the newer gym owners, start to think about this, because your exit goal or what the business is going to do and serve you with has to be a forethought as soon as you decide to write your name on the LLC and kick the doors open.
Yeah. You do need to know what that end goal looks like. And that's kind of what I was saying. If you don't know what the end goal is, then stay right in your gym. You'll be there 10, 15 years later.
And we've seen it when we've worked with gym owners that have been.
I see it in a lot of businesses.
Oh, yeah.
And I know the person I'm going to talk about listens to the show is not in. He's our chef at our.
Yeah.
I literally just went and had breakfast, and he made my food. He's the owner.
Yeah.
He made my food, and he's in the back cooking. He's been in business 16 years. There from the customer side of that equation. Oh man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
From the customer side.
Yep.
But I don't want him back there. I mean, I know that he's, back there because maybe he lost a cook called in or something like that, because he's always having to backfill. But like from the business owner side of me, I don't ever want to see him back there. I want to see him out in front doing other stuff. But the other thing about him is he loves doing it. Yeah. So it's very difficult. And a lot of gym owners are like him, and they love training clients. If you love training clients, if you love it and you just cannot get rid of it, you better hire a CEO to run the operations, because if you're not doing it, somebody needs to.
Absolutely.
And I've seen businesses where the founder operator is just in the trenches and loves it, and that's their zone of genius. They hire a CEO to run, or a president to run the operations, or COO for sure, because they're not going to be that good at it anyway. Let's leave them where they're at here on the floor. So again, if you're listening to this and you're a trainer or a gym owner, you're a trainer first, and you just love it, consider hiring somebody to run the operations, at least the COO side of it.
Yeah.
If not a CEO.
Yeah, that makes a good point too, because I mean, again, in order to grow the business, you need somebody with that vision. You need somebody in that seat that's directing where the business is going. And I mean, one of the struggles, especially with newer gyms, is the fact that you don't have the time. You don't have the time because you're on the training floor, you're doing all the fulfillment, and then, the growth of the business is left to whatever few hours you have each night before you crash and you're up at 4:00 so you can be at the gym at 5, right? And
back to it.
That responsibility, I mean, that's equally as important as the delivery of your service, if not greater, right? You got to continually feed the business. But if you don't have somebody, in that position, it's like running a ship without a captain. And it's limited. I mean, your potential it's not even there.
Got it. Well, listen, gym owners, you heard a couple things here. Hopefully it gets the wheels turning. If you're facing this side of it, I mean, there's a reason why your clients are saying these things, and it is justified. But if you listen to them and you don't take that big leap forward, then it's on you, honestly. So again, we talked about a lot. There's going to be a point in time where you do start to hear chatter because you're moving on up down the line, and it's up to you whether or not you want to listen to it or step back in the operations and find yourself being a trainer for 15 years down the road, and you're like, oh man, I what if I would have done these other things?
And I'll leave it with one other thing too, is if you as a fitness professional have a desire to change lives, you can change a hell of a lot more lives by growing your organization, maybe multiplying to a second location, maybe just building the system to touch more individuals rather than just spending your time focused on the one person that's right in front of you every hour on the hour.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You have to cast a bigger, wider net, and you could backfill. I mean, train up your team. That's the biggest thing. You have to pass off those skill sets. Like if there is a gap between you and your coaches, what is that gap? And coach them on that. Bring them to the level of your expectations, your service, so that your clientele, they'd rather work with your coaches than work with you. If you can get into that situation,
you're in good shape.
Yeah, exactly. You've mitigated that kind of chatter and the ability for them to feel that personal loss. But it's tough. It's definitely tough.
All right, guys. That's it for this episode. Until next time, keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye.
All right, and thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals, and when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.